Mercy Me is coming to Pittsburgh. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Ripp. Thursday, October 5th. Bring your family and friends to the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp live in concert. 3 multiple award-winning artists on one stage for one night. Let your spirit soar, your heart sing, and your faith ignite. Mark your calendars for Thursday, October 5th. Get your tickets now at mercyme.org.
Hey y'all, I'm Christy Wright, and you are listening to the Business Boutique Podcast. Today is another special episode as we are continuing our series of Hope in the Chaos. I'm so excited about today because I got to sit down with one of my very good friends, Chrystal Evans Hurst. Chrystal and I have been friends for years, and this woman is absolutely brilliant. She has said things to me throughout our friendship that are so simple, but that have truly transformed my life and my relationships. I love her wisdom and I love her, and I know that you will too. Check this out. Hey everyone, and welcome to day 7 of Hope in the Chaos. 10 truths to get you through. I'm hanging out outside on the deck today, and the lighting's not great, but I just thought maybe some fresh air, even virtual fresh air, would do you and me some good. It's so nice to have nice weather. Do y'all have nice weather where you are? Let me know, because it's going to be like 80 or something like that. And I'm like, yes, I can make it. I can be quarantined at my house. If I don't have to be inside my house, if I can be outside my house. And, so just let me know. What's weather like where you are? It's just been so nice to have this dedicated time every single day to reset and focus on the good, to focus on the truth, to focus on the goodness and the hope that is out there, because, and we know this, especially as believers, that hope isn't something that is situational. It's something that is true no matter what. And so what's been really cool that I've noticed over the last 7 days of doing this with you guys is that everybody kind of has different perspectives. Like, some people are anchoring to things that are super practical, like routines and habits. And then other people, maybe it's a verse that they're clinging to. And we need both. We need the practical things in our life to keep us sane. And we also need the Lord to anchor us. And it's such a good reminder to stop and reset. Also, for any of you all that it's your first time joining us today, all of the past 6 days and all of the days total will be saved at businessboutique.com/hope. And there you can find all of the guests, summaries, and then the journal questions. You can make sure you get the journal questions there, because after every video, we're sending out journal questions to make sure that you're able to put this into practice and internalize it and pray over it in your life. And so it's just been really, really great doing that with you guys. And I think that's one of those things that helps you kind of take it the next step. It's not just this idea that you listen to, but you actually learn from and apply to your life. And I've said this all week, but when I sit down to journal, when I take pen to paper, it's amazing sometimes the things that come out, the words that come out. That's my neighbor's dog. Okay, so y'all know how I love to start. Tell me something good. Tell me something good going on in your life. Tell me some good news, something positive, something you're excited about, something in the last 24 hours specifically. What is something good? My good thing 100% is the weather right now. I'm such an outside person. I don't care if there's wasps flying at my head. I'm just so happy to be outside. But it's just so nice having the warm weather. So what about you guys? Guppy says Chick-fil-A is open. Yes, the sun. Friend brought me a roll of toilet paper. Oh, that's awesome. Kay Krimmer, having a dedicated time to potty train, but it's hard for sure. All right, y'all, I'm so excited to have my friend Chrystal Evans Hurst on today. I'm so excited to hang out with her. I love this woman so much, and y'all are going to love her too. Chrystal and I met. Chrystal, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. Did we meet filming Better Together? Was that the first time we met? I feel like we met before that, but I know we met at Better Together, so I'm not sure. So there you are. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, girl. How are you?
Good. We're all surviving, right? How is it in your world? Church world, home world, family world?
Because it's about all the worlds right now, is it?
Colliding.
I'm like, y'all leave me alone. Everybody.
What's going on with church? I know you said it's been crazy going online. Talk to us.
Well, so yes. So my dad has not wanted to live stream.
Okay.
These years.
A lot of pastors are in the same boat.
So, and we actually can. I mean, we have a private live stream link. I've had one for years.
Yeah.
But in terms of flipping the switch on, he hadn't wanted to do it. So we've been forced to. And being forced to do it means everybody has to figure out what we do real quick.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. It's been fast.
Yeah.
And I actually work at my church. I have like 6 jobs, but my job at the church is pastoral assistant.
Okay.
And there's a list of things that I do for my dad. But the bottom one says, and any and other all. That's really my job. That's really my job.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Et cetera, et cetera. That's really my job. So I got pulled into a lot of that, you know. The kids are home, but they're always home. The problem is that I work from home, and I have a couple of gals that work with me on different things. One of them, her whole thing is to keep the kids going when I disappear to do stuff like this. And I think she's fine, but her second job, she's a med school student. She works at a hospital. So we both agreed that her coming here probably wasn't the best thing.
Right.
So now I'm doing all of the things, all on my own.
When you say your kids are always at home, do you normally homeschool?
I do. So my oldest daughter is 28. We started homeschooling her on accident in the 6th grade.
Okay.
And then we just never went back. So
how do you accidentally homeschool again? I don't know.
Well, because she was struggling in school, I took her out for a semester.
Okay.
That was all it was supposed to be.
Sure.
And then it turned into another year. And then I said, well, I'll keep her through junior high. And then here we are, 18 years later.
I've got a question about that then. So you started this whole journey of homeschooling accidentally. There are a lot of moms right now, probably some watching, that are accidentally homeschooling and kind of like your dad in the church doing something they didn't necessarily want to do to begin with. Give them some advice. What would you say to these moms that are, you know, in your shoes from however many years ago when you started and were like, I didn't mean to do this? What tips do you have?
Yeah. So I think the main thing is, first of all, to give yourself grace and your kids grace.
Yeah.
Because everybody's figuring it out. Okay.
Right.
And even in my case, with my kids being homeschooled, they're still used to being gone. My older 2 do dual credit. They have homeschool co-ops. They're gone 4 days a week.
Okay.
So everybody's got to figure it out. The other thing I would say is, and of course it's going to vary based on what your school district is having you do for your kids or your school, but I would just say major on the majors and not the minors.
Okay. Explain that.
Yeah. So basically what's major is that your kids get their schoolwork done.
Okay.
Like they have a mandate for the day.
Right.
What's minor is when they get it done, especially if you've got older kids. Like if they want to sleep in a little bit because maybe they work better at night.
Yeah.
And you got a 16-year-old, let them do it.
Yeah. Don't micromanage.
Don't try to bring school at home and schedule it out, and don't kill yourself.
Okay.
And then the last thing I would say is this is a great time to build rhythm, routines, and responsibilities into your family fabric. Mm-hmm. And so I just asked my middle son to read with my younger son. And he said, oh, why? And I said, because today I need your help.
Yeah.
And we've had that discussion. When I said that, he said, oh, okay. Because I told them, y'all, listen, I still have work to do. We all still have things to do. And I'm going to need y'all's help. And that framework means that even though they have chores, I've added to their chores. Yeah. And we're all in this thing together, and we're all a part of a team. So this is a great time for them to learn things that maybe they haven't had to do before, so that y'all are all, this is what I tell my kids. If you want me to watch the great movie with you at 9:00 tonight, then that means at 9:00 tonight, I can't still be cleaning up and doing laundry and doing things. So if I want us to have a good time together as a family, then we all have to work together when it's time to work.
Help me help you. Help me
help me
help you.
Help you. Exactly.
Carter says to me all the time, he's like, but I don't want to. I was like, yeah, I do stuff all the time. I don't want to. You don't even know how many things I do in a day that I don't want to do. Do it anyway.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, it's amazing because I feel like one of the things that's been cool about this series, which, you know, I texted you, this was so random, but I wanted to hear from different women that I love and respect and admire and always learn from, of how they're managing. Because I feel like I'm a broken record. I keep saying this, but I'm like, there's no playbook for this. No one has ever gone through this before. So whereas a lot of things we do in life, whether it's homeschooling or business or even in our faith in the church world, it's like, this is how we do it. Here is the blueprint. Here are best practices. And there's no blueprint for this life. There's no best practices for this life. And so I just love hearing from lots of different women on how they're managing and what it looks like and what have they even learned from themselves in the last 2 weeks of like, this works and this doesn't, and that type of thing. And Chrystal, you're one of those people that, I mean, the dinner we had in California after the shoot that day, like you gave me one nugget that was like, do what you can. We were talking about family stuff at that time. You were talking about your family. I was talking about my family.
and we were both just overwhelmed at what we wanted to do but couldn't do. And you just gave me this one tip. It was like, you know what I do, Christy? You're like, I just do what I can. Like, I can't do it all, and I can't do everything I want to every day, but I just do what I can. And I took that home, and I even texted you about it later in that specific instance. It was like, that was just such a nugget for me. And so I'm so grateful for your friendship and the way that you've, invested in me. But I'd love to just hear from you, like, in these last 2 weeks, what does it look like for you to anchor to, like, what are you anchoring to in this storm? And I keep relating it to a storm because, gosh, that's what it feels like. It feels like the rug's been pulled out from underneath us, and our schedules are gone, our routines, our sense of normal is gone. And in those times, you want things you kind of anchor to, like, okay, I've got this I depend on, this I cling to. So what does that look like for you, right now in this kind of crisis we're all going through?
Well, the word is invest for me. I really feel like when you look at Romans 12:2, renewing your mind, that your mind is something that you have to intentionally invest in. The way that you think, the way that you process, the thoughts that you are sitting on, ruminating on, to pay attention to that and to know that this is a season to invest in how you think about your life so that your thoughts influence what you do. One of the things that I've said before, just on a church thing, that's true. So in my 20s, I worked in a multi-institutional money management and had my broker's licenses and all that, worked for a mutual fund company. And we spent all this time telling people when the market got rocky, like it is now, hey, the truth is that the numbers don't lie, that the people who run when things get tough are not the people who reap the reward of staying invested and continuing to invest when things are tough. And this idea of renewal and continual work on the things that you are most frightened of, on the things that are most difficult, on the things that are most trying, now's the time to invest. Because if you invested there were more millionaires that came out of the 1929 crash. And if you look at who kept investing in the stock market during times where things were bad, those were the people who reaped the greatest reward. Well, the same is true about our current situation. We have an opportunity because we all have less to do. Like, even if we work from home, the baseball games are canceled. You can't even go to the movies, for crying out loud. And some of us, honestly, are probably running to Walmart way more than we should because we just need something to do.
Need to get out.
I'm like, my husband went out today to go to Walmart to get some flour. That was 2.5 hours ago. I don't know where that man is. Like, what is he doing? And you know what I bet he's going to tell me? He's going to tell me he went to like 3 Walmarts. And I told him it wasn't that crucial.
But
the point is that we have time. We have more bandwidth for certain things. Most of us do. I know some of us are healthcare workers who are double timing it, but most of us have time. So what are you going to choose to renew in your life mentally, invest in your life physically, to utilize this opportunity to pour into something that needs investment? Now, that could be you. We got time. You wanted to learn it? YouTube the video. You want to spend more time to your kids? You feel bad? Oh, man, I never have time to read with them. Well, now you do. Never had time to cook? You've been driving through the fast food lanes? Listen, I had a friend yesterday say to me, she's been cooking. She had not left the house since March 13th. I was like, what? Since March the 13th? She was like, yeah, her job told her she could work from home. She's single. She said, I had everything I needed. I didn't leave the house. She said, but last night I was sick of cooking. So I went and got a burger. I said, from where? She said, it doesn't matter. It was a Corona burger. I said, oh, okay. But my point is with her is I know that a lot of us are driving through and we're used to getting food on the go. Well, now's your time to learn how to cook. Like, what do you need to invest in from the top down? So yes, this is time to spend elongated time in the Word and to study. Yes, this is time to spend time with your kids. Yes, this is time to journal more, get your thoughts on paper so that you can renew not just what you do, but how you're thinking. And so to me, it's tough, and I had speaking engagements canceled, and I still have deadlines for book stuff, and the kids are at home, and they want to eat every 5 seconds, and I'm in the kitchen nonstop. However, this is a time like no other to renew how I see my life, renew what I'm thinking about my life, so that I can change what I'm doing with my life. And I get to use this time. And what I don't want to do is look back like a lot of people looked at their time to invest in money, mutual funds, stock market. I saw this over and over and over again where people regretted later. Dog it. When that stock was low or that mutual fund was low, that was my time to invest. Well, this is our time. You can run scared and completely waste the time. And I have nothing against a good Netflix marathon. However, when you look back 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, and you think there were these 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks, however long this is going to last. And man, if I could go back, I had all that time and I didn't do X. Because now we've removed the excuses for your investment and for the investment in renewing your mind. Somebody sent me a meme the other day, girl, and it said, I used to say that the reason why I hadn't decluttered my closet was because I didn't have time. And now I know time wasn't the problem.
Yeah, because I'm still not doing it.
So we blame a lot of things on time, and now time cannot be your scapegoat. So what are you going to do with your time?
Yeah. I heard something earlier this morning. I was praying with some people, and someone said, we are in a forced reset. And I thought, isn't that so interesting? Because we wouldn't have chosen this reset. We could have never created this reset. But because we're in it, we are able to look at our life completely differently that we couldn't have otherwise, because we never would ever be in an environment where the whole world stops. Like when you said you've taken away your scapegoat, you've taken away your excuses, you know what else is taken away is any opportunity for FOMO. Like there's no fear of missing out because no one's doing anything.
Nobody's doing jack squat.
It's not even like you've got to have the discipline to stop your world or slow down or clear your calendar or create margin because everyone else is running hard, but you've got to go against the current. No. There is no current. The current has come to a screeching halt, and you have an opportunity to, like you said, I love this idea of renewing how I see my life so that I can change what I'm doing with my life. I saw something, I think it was actually Dave Hollis put on Instagram the other day. He said, before you're so antsy to rush back to normal, think about what you're rushing back to. And it's like, what do we want to get back to? There's elements of this world that I am loving and I want to keep. And so now is a time when we're in a forced reset, when we have opportunity, like you said, to renew our mind and think about how we live our life completely differently with no FOMO, no excuses, no everybody's partying, but I'm going to try to stop and hole up and get off social media for a second and think about my life. Everybody has come to a stop. Everybody has an opportunity to think about what they want to do with their life and what they want to go back to with this clean slate. And man, that's powerful, Chrystal.
It totally is powerful. My daughter stopped by today and she said, Mommy, on the way here, everybody's out walking. And here's the thing. We all know we're supposed to walk. We all know we're supposed to get sunshine. And all of a sudden, because the slate is clean, we are making room for the things we know to do and that we want to do. We just haven't made the time to do. We should have been doing this all along. And I think what you're saying is so crucial. I think right now, this renewing is not just about what I'm doing right now. It's deciding that when this veil of reset is lifted, that I've decided before the world tells me, I've decided what I'm getting back to. I don't want things to dictate anymore. I think a lot of people are going to make changes, and that's good.
I love that. You know, one of the exercises I do with people when I'm helping them with time management, it's this exercise I walk them through where I'm like, okay, you're going to create your ideal schedule. And it's not considering anything you're currently doing. This is like, pre-coronavirus, okay? So you take a blank slate, you fill in like, what's your perfect world? What's your perfect schedule? But the reason I have them do it that way and look at what would be a perfect schedule with a clean slate versus looking at your current schedule and what can you change is so often when we're deep in our current schedule and our current commitments, we can't look at it with fresh eyes. We can't think about how it could be differently. It's like, well, I've got to go here and I've got to volunteer and so has this. It's like, now that everything's been taken away, I'm like, what do I want to intentionally add back? And what do I not want to? Because I've had the opportunity to look at it with fresh eyes. But so often, if we just are running from one day to the next, even if we think like, oh, well, what would I do differently? We can't imagine it because we're so ingrained in those habits of rushing, the habit of busyness, the habit of commitments. And man, we are getting to experience a slow, gentle, quality life in a different way that we would have never been able to create on our own.
Listen, we are all on a forced elimination diet.
Yeah.
And when we discover what has been ailing us, causing us to have allergic reactions, causing us to be breaking out, to have aches and pains that are mental and not just physical, but mental, spiritual, emotional, then we get to decide what we add back in. Yeah. Richard Swenson wrote that book, Margin, and he talked about being a medical doctor and all these people coming to him, having all of these physical ailments, and there was nothing physically wrong, but it was stress. And he said, these are the things I want you to change in your life, and tell me if these pains go away. And he said so many people were coming to him because of physical pains caused by lifestyle,
Wow.
not just food, but ripping and running and doing too much.
Right.
And the device is always being on. And so we are on a forced elimination diet of our habits and our routines and our checklists and our ripping and running all over town. And we get to choose now what to add back, because we will now begin to realize what was causing the allergic reaction.
Yeah.
The allergic reactions
that's
of
good.
headaches and stress and
Anxiety.
screaming at people and disconnection between your family and your friends. You're going to realize that being too busy kept you from having a cluttered home and kept you from eating healthy and kept you from getting exercise. And now you get to choose what you put back in so that you can actually live the way you want to live.
You know what's so interesting too is it's forcing, I'll speak for myself, I don't want to say everyone, but it's forcing me, because like busyness for me, I realized, Chrystal, a long time ago, and I always have struggled with, busyness is a drug. And in my stage of life with 3 little kids and having a busy schedule, that drug is always readily available. So it's never like, well, I'm just in certain environments that are tempting. My life is in a tempting environment. Like everything is busy and stressed and hard because that's my season right now. And so what's so interesting about this season we're in with the coronavirus and the screeching halt it's all come to is it has forced me to figure out who I am apart from my to-do list, who I am apart from productivity. And I'm having to get real comfortable with myself when I keep looking at that to-do list and there's nothing on it, and fighting the urge to create something out of nothing. Of course, there's things I could be doing, but to not put anything on it and just be a human being, not a human doing, as they say, and just learn how to be a person apart from my productivity. And it's uncomfortable, but I think it's really important. And I wonder if other people are experiencing that, because even before, I don't know how to operate apart from my to-do list. I would put things on it if things weren't on it. And man, this is a powerful experiment, even with ourselves, to learn who we are apart from what we do.
Somebody texted me last night and she said, why is it that when things get crazier, your capacity seems to increase? And I told her, I said, well, it's probably the adrenaline. I'm addicted to it. There's a rush that I get. You know, it's kind of like why people procrastinate and then they think they do better under stress. They don't do better, but they're just addicted to that rush. And it doesn't feel right unless they're doing it in that way. So I'm with you. I'm just like, if I find myself in this season, my son just said to me this morning, because there was something we're supposed to read to each other, and it's Thursday, right? I was supposed to do it Monday. So I said, we'll do it this afternoon, babe. And he said, are you too busy this morning too? And I thought, wait a minute. I actually have absolutely no reason in this situation for this child to tell me I'm too busy. Now, what it is me fixing breakfast and trying to get meals situated for the day. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, I'm not going anywhere. But I just thought that should not be the takeaway in this season. That there's anything that so what do I need to say? I'm going to do it differently. I mean, last night I've been cooking these gourmet meals, and listen, I can cook. So I'm like, ooh, now I get to go and do. Last night I was like, this is ridiculous. I need to make hot dogs and then sit down and watch this doggone movie with these kids. I'm making these meals, but if what they're getting out of that is she's not with us, this season should not be about me not being with them, but it should be about me having the time to do all the things that I never get to do, or don't get to do as much as I want to.
It's so interesting because we're so used to running hard, running fast, being distracted, that we go into that gear even when we don't have to be. Just like you said, like there was one time I was getting Carter in the car seat and I was trying to get him strapped, and he goes, oh, are we in a hurry? And he starts to grab it. I go, no, we're not in a hurry. Take your time. And he's seen me, hey, we're in a hurry. Come on, we got to go, so many times that he has learned that habit. And I'm like, no, we're not in a hurry. And it's amazing how we operate in that gear. It's like we don't know how to downshift. We don't know how to operate in a different gear where we make hot dogs, hang out with the kids, and just go slow. Just visit with our family, just be there and not have anything to show for it. No agenda, nothing you even need to post about on Facebook of look what we did tonight. We're so awesome. Just exist and rest and be present. And this is I think not only will our world not be the same after this, we won't be the same if we use this wisely, like you said.
If we use it wisely. And that's the thing. I think if we go through it and enjoy it, but don't think intentionally about what parts of this we're keeping, we will get right back in. I mean, think about how many people, because we're talking about drug addictions, get off of the drug to get back on it.
Right.
The way I like to think of it is there are pathways in your brain. There are crevices, what I tell my kids, there are crevices that are formed. And so all of your efforts just flow into those crevices in your brain, right? And so the thing is, you can form new crevices. That doesn't mean that the old crevices aren't there.
Right.
So if you're not intentional about keeping things in your new crevice, things will just go right back to because there's a pattern that you've worn out after years and years of being you. Right. So there has to be a high level of intentionality, which is why that comes back to investing in renewing your mind. Yeah. Because if the only reason why you're doing less is because the world is dictating it to you, as soon as the world tells you you can get back to being you, you will.
Right. That's so good. And I love how you pointed that out, because I don't know if y'all picked up on that. Like, what Chrystal is saying is scientific. Neither she nor I that I know of are scientists, but there are actual literal grooves in your brain that you slip into these habits because they've been worn down so much. So it takes a lot of effort to create a new groove, like a walking around the neighborhood groove, versus the busyness and rushing groove. Man, that groove is so deep that you slip back into it, and you slip back into it in slow times when you try to recreate those environments. But man, like you said, when the world gets back to that fast pace, you're going to go right back into that group if you're not careful. But I love this idea of renewing. Would you read that verse again, Chrystal, before we wrap up? This is, you said Romans 12:2. Would you read it slowly? Because I want to make sure we are getting that. That's such a good word to cling to, especially about what you're talking about, renewing your mind in this season when you're forced to look at things differently.
Yes, 100%. I have it memorized, but I want to read it. And I love the New Living Translation, and I'm going to read it just for readability and understandability. Romans 12:2. Here we go. Don't copy the behavior and the customs of the world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect.
I love it. Isn't that a question you get asked all the time, Chrystal? I don't know God's will for my life. I just want to know what God wants me to do. I just want to know what steps he wants me to take. I just want clarity, direction. I just want to know where God is leading. It's like that verse is telling you how to be sure that you are in the center of God's will for your life as you renew your mind. I love that. And this is a great time to do it. It's a time unlike anything else we've ever experienced in our lifetime, in our world, something we probably will never experience again in this way. And we have a few weeks to stop our world, a few weeks to rethink everything. You said something, and I couldn't write fast enough. You said, I'm going to renew how I see my life so I can change what I do with my life. And gosh, that's a word, and that'll preach all day long. All day long. Chrystal, you are such a gift for us. You're just such a great friend to me. And it's just amazing how just the simplest truths that come out of your mouth so effortlessly are things that really are going to help people today. So I'm just so grateful for you being here. Would you mind, before we wrap up, would you care to just pray for everyone watching now and everyone that will be watching this later?
Mm-hmm. Lord, we are in the middle of the great reset. Like it or not, we are where we are. And we have this wonderful opportunity to learn more about ourselves and to learn more about you, what you intend for our lives. We know that in Romans 12:2, when you talk about renewing our minds by getting to know you, that means we have to have our head and our eyes on your word, because the Bible tells us in John that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You are your word. We get to know you by renewing our mind with your word. So God, I just ask that right now you would allow us, each individual, to view this as inconvenient as it is, as hard as it's hitting our pockets, as frustrating as it might be, even to be enclosed in with the people that we love, but the people that we love still are people. During this time, everything that would feel like friction, everything that would feel like a difficulty, everything that we miss about our regular lives, even dumb stuff like going to the movie theater or the mall, instead of seeing the frustrating parts of it, would you cause us to celebrate the opportunity that we have to not just learn to live differently, but to learn to think differently as we look to you to show us your perfect will and your plan for our lives. Help us to see ourselves and our lives as you see them so that we can do what you want us to do with the time that you've given each one of us to live. Lord, I just ask in your name that you would allow us to see with your eyes what you see with this situation, and then help us to do with our hands and our feet what will honor you and be for our good. Because we know, because our Bible tells us that you waste nothing, that there is nothing that's going to happen to us that does not pass through your hands, and that you cannot turn for the good. Help us to allow ourselves to be utilized in the good that will come out of this situation. And help us all, Lord, simply to slow down so we can see you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Chrystal. This has been such a gift. I'm so grateful for you, friend. For those of you watching, remember you can get the journal questions at businessboutique.com/hope. Chrystal, I'm just sending out journal questions afterwards to help them process. And so anything specifically you want me to ask, I'll check in with you offline and put those in there. But I just want to make sure people are getting the main takeaways of our conversation and all of your wisdom, and they can go home and actually hopefully take it even a step further. But thank you so much for being here, and thanks for hanging out with us.
So fun. Thanks for inviting me, Christy.
See ya. Thanks, Chrystal. Bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. That was so fun. Thanks for being here. I'm just so, so grateful for these amazing women that are my friends that are showing up to teach all of us. And every day I feel like I learn something new and I'm processing something new, and I hope you are too. So be sure to tell your friends about this series. There's no ask. There's no agenda. I just want to spread hope in a difficult time. Again, all the replays are at businessboutique.com/hope. You can get the journal questions there. And we just want to walk with you in this tough season. And we'll be back with another friend for day 8 of Hope in the Chaos. Thanks for being here, y'all. See you later.
All right, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in, and join me on Monday where we continue this series where I had another awesome conversation with my good friend, Diana Nepstead, as we all find ways to find hope in the chaos. I'll see you then.
Mercy Me is coming to Pittsburgh, the Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Rip, Thursday, October 5th. Bring your family and friends to the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Rip live in concert. 3 multiple award-winning artists on one stage for one night. Let your spirit soar, your heart sing, and your faith ignite. Mark your calendars for Thursday, October 5th. Get your tickets now at mercyme.org.